everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jen, and I have a fabulous boyfriend named Jason who's not present right now due to COVID-19. He's staying with his parents, and he will be back hopefully next weekend, and we'll get to see him. But today I am going to be making, along with my daughter Sierra, we're going to make apple fritters, and I'm also going to make some vegetarian fried rice as well as some pork fried rice. So I hope you stick around for the video. Alright guys, for those of you who didn't know, hopefully I'm making life easier for some of you. You can actually make rice in the oven. You're going to want to preheat your oven to 375, and it is a cup and 3/4 for every cup of rice of boiling water. So I'm going to do 3 cups. So that would be 5 1/4 cups of boiling water. So you just put your rice in a casserole dish and spread it around. I have boiling water here. I'm going to put 5 1/4 cups. 2, 3, 4, 5 1/4. There we go. And then what you do to that is I'm adding a whole stick of butter. And I am going to sprinkle on some salt because rice is no good without salt. And then I'm going to cover it with aluminum foil. And then we're going to bake this for 25 minutes. Again, at 375. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so there's that timer for 25 minutes. Let's turn that off and get our rice out of the oven. Alright, let's see what we have here. So, looks like the rice is done. You're going to want to fluff it with a fork. Probably mix in all this butter. Looks like I might have been putting a little bit too much water. otherwise, it's pretty good, but we're going to let it sit in the fridge overnight, so that should all dry up and absorb pretty good. Gonna use this for fried rice, and if it's too much for that, I'll use it for something else too. Happy Easter morning! I'm going to start off my day by making some coffee. Let's see if I can get this in here. Oh, I got it on the thingy. I'm never good at this one-handed stuff. So, get that in there. See if I can wipe this off of here, and I'm gonna pour it in. No, I don't have a Keurig. I wish I did, but I don't. Oh, this needs plugged in. Let's get her plugged in. And there we go. Should be about 10 minutes. Yeah, so this is a vlog about my kitties. They are eating their breakfast on Easter morning. I promise this won't be a vlog about my kitties, but they're so cute. Have to include them. Only someone's missing. We actually have 3 kitties, and their dishes were moved off the kitchen floor so Sierra could mop. So I'm gonna use my daughter's favorite coffee mug. It has a dragon on it. So pretty. So in my coffee, I just use some half and half. Just a little bit. And I'm going to use a splash of this English toffee coffee syrup. I guess I get my practicing in of using one hand on stuff. Just a splash. Actually like to organize these a little different than Sierra does. Like to put them like that. She'll move them though. She always does. So let's get some coffee. And there you have it, my cup of joe. Okay, for the apple fritter recipe, I'm going to peel 4 apples into a bowl, and I am doubling this recipe because, just dropped the peel on the floor. It gives you, for one recipe, enough to make 6 of them. I want to make 12, so we are doubling it. So you're going to peel all your apples, and I don't have a fancy peeler, so I'm just peeling them with a paring knife. The peels are going everywhere. But then you're going to want to core them and slice or cube them up into small pieces. You can use up to 3 apples for each part of the recipe you make. I'm using 2 because last time I made them, I felt that they might be better with fewer apples. But let me tell you something. This recipe is so delicious. It's like, I had to make it again because it is so good. Go juice the lemon into a cup. Yes, in time you came, and I love it. Can you see it? Sierra is going to juice a lemon into a cup while I continue to dice up the apples. We do 1 whole lemon. Now, if you want softer apples in your apple fritters, you can go ahead and saute these apples up in butter. But I am not going to do that. These apples are going to be a little bit crisp. They get partially cooked. So it all depends on if you want your apples to be crisp or if you want them nice and fully cooked and soft.
Will it all fit?
I think so. It's kind of to the brim though. Okay, once you get your apples all diced up, you're going to pour the lemon juice over them and set them aside.
Ooh. Mom, careful. You have to tilt the cup more.
Okay. Okay, so we are going to make the apple fritters. So we're going to do the batter now. The ingredients call for 1 cup of all-purpose flour. But again, we are doubling this recipe. So I also want them to be a little bit denser. So we're going to do 2.5 cups of flour. So you want to put that in a mixing bowl separate from the bowl you're going to make your batter in. Sierra's just putting the flour in the bowl. So you got a 1/2 cup there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And my phone keeps going dark and shutting off on me, but we are going to do 4 teaspoons of baking powder. 4 teaspoons of baking powder, and you're going to put all your dry ingredients into a separate bowl. 4. So yeah, doubling the recipe, it calls for 2 teaspoons, so we're going to do 4. And then after that, it calls for a half teaspoon of cinnamon, so you're going to make it a whole teaspoon. Put the lid back on the baking powder. See, I wish I knew more about technology so that I could set my phone so that the screen doesn't black out on me. But I don't. And then a whole teaspoon of salt. And I am going to take the time to wipe the counter down and the stove so we can clean as we go. So you're going to take a whisk and combine your dry ingredients. And let me grab my phone to see what the next step is. Okay, it says the 2 large eggs. It says room temperature, but we didn't do that last time we made this. So we are just going to crack 4 eggs. I'm going to do them in that bowl. So yeah, she's getting 4 eggs. And then it'll be 4 tablespoons of granulated sugar. And then what you're going to want to do is when you get that in the bowl, you're going to mix them together with your hand mixer. Now 4 tablespoons of sugar, regular granulated sugar. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you're going to mix this together. And you're going to mix in the milk, which is a half cup of milk. And then you're going to put in half of the dry ingredients. And mix that together. And then the other half. Just until combined. Okay, my dough is a little bit on the thick side, so let me see what I did wrong. Okay, since I increased the flour, I'm going to add another half cup of milk. I guess you can't get away with making them more dense like this. And here is the milk. We're going to mix that all together. Alright, that's about the consistency I was aiming for. Here, can you take this and put the beaters in the sink?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to fold in the apples. So, okay guys, that was a whole cup of milk, and then the apples are folded in, and then off to the next step to fry them.
Okay guys, I'm going to be showing you how to make the icing for the apple fritters. So what you're going to need is to take around 2 cups of powdered sugar, and if you guys need to add more of each of these ingredients, you can, to get the right consistency, because it's supposed to be a creamy consistency that's liquidy but not too liquidy. And then you're going to take some vanilla, and you're going to take two 1/4 of teaspoons. You're going to take 2 of these, 1 and 2, and then you're going to take about a few teaspoons of water, so around maybe 6 to just as much water as you need. So, but what you're going to do is take around 4 to 10 teaspoons of water. One, 2, 3, 4, and now if I need more water, I will add more, but I'm going to stir this up together in the bowl with a hand whisk. And like my mom said, we were making double the recipe, so you guys would add half of what I'm adding in this one if you were to make just half the recipe. Okay, I will need more water. Try, please. 2 more teaspoons, sorry, I keep saying tablespoons. And once you get the right consistency, you should be good.
You're going to want to get all the lumps out.
And this is good.
Okay, so we're going to set the glaze aside. Then you're going to turn your skillet frying pan on high. And we're going to put about an inch of oil into it. And what I like to do is I like to scoop them out of the mixing bowl with a ladle. So we're going to let that oil heat up, and then I'll be back to show you when it's hot. So I hear a little bit of sizzling. What I'm going to do, okay, so our oil is ready. So I'm going to get a scoop full and put it in to fry. I'm going to put 3 in at a time.
I'll be back now when they're ready, guys.
And when they start browning on the edges, they are ready to be flipped. And take a pair of tongs and flip them over. See, I lost some of the batter into the oil, so I'm going to clean that out before I make the next batch. Going to get a slotted spoon for that. And then you can check the other side. Looks like these are about done, so I'm going to lay them on my baking sheet with paper towels. There is the finished product, and I'm just going to clean out the oil. You can put these pieces on your paper towel, and then it's rinse and repeat. We'll be back when it's time to glaze them. Okay, so here's the finished unglazed product. We'll just let these cool until the room temperature, and then we'll add the glaze.
Okay, now once you guys have the icing and everything made and have these cooled, what you're going to do is you're going to take the icing you made earlier, and then you're going to, I feel like it's starting to, pardon me, I'm going to stir it up. Then you're going to take some icing, you're going to pour it on them. You're going to smear it around like that. And you gotta get enough icing around the top of them. You can make more icing if you want to coat the whole thing, but I would recommend just coating the top. Of the apple fritter. Like, get the top nicely coated. Now that one's perfect. Some of these are a bit fat. Now that I showed you how to coat them, my mom will come back in and she will show you the my mom will show you a finished product. My mom will show you a finished product.
Okay, so here is the finished product. I think they turned out pretty good, if I do say so myself. And you will be able to find the link to this recipe in the description box, and I will notate the modifications that I made. Alright, so what I'm doing here is cutting up a few pork chops. I think I'm going to use probably like 2. Dicing them into small pieces. They're still a little bit frozen. That makes them easier to cut, in my opinion. So I'm just going to dice this up and make pork fried rice out of it. Okay, so I'm going to make some pork fried rice and some vegetable fried rice. Gonna turn my burners on high and add some oil to the skillets. And let that heat up. So I made the rice ahead of time and put it in the fridge overnight. And that's what I will be using. So I don't think I'm going to use it all. I think I'm going to have some leftover rice for another dish on another day because I got all this. So, yeah. I'm also going to be using mixed vegetables. I'm going to use an egg in each one. And then let's see if I can find the other stuff. I'm going to use some soy sauce. And some sesame oil. So I think these are pretty well heated. This is diced up pork chop that I'm going to be putting in this one. I'm just going to fry that up. I use 2 separate spatulas because one is vegetarian. And for dinner tonight, there's only going to be one person eating each fried rice. So we're not going to make a heck of a lot. Get that pork browned up. and cooked through. You know, pork chops are easier to cut when they are a bit frozen still. Like when they're all thawed out, your knife will kind of just go back and forth and not want to cut anything. So I'm going to go ahead and add some rice to this one. We're going to be making a spot in the middle of the pan for the egg. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit. And I'm going to add the rice to this one. We'll do the same thing with the egg. Let's see. I didn't get it to the bottom. Oopsie. I'm just going to pop this right back in here. And then we're going to add our vegetables for this one. Boy, I'm making a mess today. Flipper dipper that around. Get everything incorporated. My pan is sticking a lot and I am making a mess. But the overall result is going to be tastiness. I'm going to go ahead and add some sesame oil to this one. And some soy sauce. That'll deglaze the pan a little bit. Okay, now we're going to add our vegetables to the other one. Oh, I just made a huge mess. This pan doesn't like me today. Check it out. Look at all that on the stove. See if I can just get a paper towel to wipe that up. Alright, now we're going to add the sesame oil. I'm going to turn this one off because that one's done. Just sprinkle a little over the top. And some soy sauce for you. And they are just about done. Here's the vegetable fried rice. And the pork fried rice. Well, if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to my channel, and if you liked it, give it a big like.